Good afternoon from Negewesco Stadium. Charles Wolin and Joe Dugan with you. Joe Dugan is socially distant. I am actually in Negewesco Stadium for today's matchup between the San Francisco Dons, a homecoming for the San Francisco Dons. Many days that they have not played here, and they played 5 games on the road against a very good Portland team. Both of these two programs very much at the same place in their progression right now. So it's San Francisco, and they're hosting Portland, and it's live, and it's next, right here on the WCC networks and on Stadium. Good afternoon, Charles Wolin with you. Pleasure and very grateful to bring you this broadcast with my co-commentator Joe Dugan here, socially distant, of course. We'll go ahead and give you the starting lineup here for Portland. They are 2-2 on the year. They have won 1 in the West Coast Conference, and they've lost 2. San Francisco, they've won 1, they've lost 2, and they've tied 1. But for Portland, Madison Zamora is the goalkeeper. Ellie Walker, Camille Ash, Shay Adams on the back line. Sophie French, Elliot Winkleman, Gabby Brummett, and Sophia Mudis in the midfield. The front three are Jamie Rita, Taryn Reese, the excellent WCC standout Taryn Reese, and Nadia Sawan is the target player today. For San Francisco, it's 4-3-3. Molly Eby, the goalkeeper, Samantha Kerwood Wagner at the right back position. The center back pairing is Kenna Roth and Kat Hill. At left back is Isabel Esparza. The midfield three is headed up by Jade Sprague, Marissa Vasquez, and Cassidy George. Out wide on the left is junior Marie Marlowe with plenty of pace. And up top through the middle is Kalena Teufel, very technically gifted player. On the right side, Sydney Cooper. San Francisco, they are missing Ashley Humphrey today for this fixture. And the last number of these fixtures between these two teams pretty competitive, but Portland historically has had the edge with this matchup. San Francisco has only won this matchup 3 times. Portland has won it 29 times, and there has been 1 tie altogether. The 34th matchup between these two teams. Good afternoon, Joe Dugan. I hope that you can hear me. I hope that fans can hear you. And welcome into our broadcast this afternoon. A wonderful day for soccer. Just a little bit of cloud cover, but the blue skies are clearing up here in the 7x7 San Francisco.
Well, thank you, Charles. Great day to be here on the hilltop, and look for this match to be very even, very competitive. Like you said, it's been very competitive in the past, but 2 new teams for the Dons and the Pilots. So really looking forward to this match today.
Yeah, here is Sydney Cooper against Ellie Walker there, and it goes for a goal kick. And I spoke with Michelle French, head coach of Portland, before this game, and she said to me, and she looked me in the eye, and it was a very important moment. She said, "We're excited every time we get on the field." And then I followed up with another question, and she said, "Look, this is how we're just getting started. We're building this program. You're seeing lots of different freshmen in my teams, and this is how we're building Portland Pilots soccer, and this is how we get back to the NCAA tournament." For San Francisco, they've been trying to get to the NCAA tournament for the first time in their history under head coach Jim Millender, and the light of day one day is right there for them, because they've turned a corner in the last decade under his tutelage, and very much stabilized this program, very much brought in good players to this program, and now it's time to kind of kick on and get themselves to an NCAA tournament one of these days.
Absolutely, Charles. I couldn't agree more, and I think, like you said, I think they are very, very close.
Headed on by Jade Sprague. Talented freshman out to Marie Marlowe, chested down. And it'll be a throw-in on the far side for Portland. San Francisco, they won their first game against Pacific. 1-0 in that game. They tied St. Mary's, and then a little bit of a losing run here against BYU and Pepperdine. Very much kind of the stalwarts of this West Coast Conference, which Michelle French actually told me before this game. So both teams, yeah, they're trying to get into that kind of upper echelon, if you will, in this conference. Here comes Portland. This is Sawan in the corner. Very nice hold-up player, Nadia Sawan. she can play the rest of her teammates in, and they really like her. Good moving target, side to side. Had the chance to commentate the Portland-Santa Clara game 2 weekends ago, Joe, and she was very active, very influential for her team. 2-0 loss on the day for Portland, but they still played a very good game against Santa Clara.
Against a very, very good, strong team in Santa Clara.
Yeah. Throw it on the far side here for Portland. Here is Sawan near the corner flag. And goes for a goal kick to Molly Eby, the goalkeeper. And this is her first year really being the full-time #1 goalkeeper for San Francisco. And pretty much enjoying her time so far as well. And I've had the chance to chat with her and discuss things with her as well, and she seems pretty pleased, and you can see she's already kind of dictating out of the back and doing a fine job of that as well, and patrolling, of course, her area. And for so many years, she's been the backup here, but this is now her time to shine. 5 minutes played, 0-0 the score. Do apologize that there is no score bug today on our broadcast, so we'll just give you updates as much as we can here. 0-0 the score. San Francisco 0, Portland 0 on the WCC network. Headed on here. Here's Sydney Cooper, who had a really nice 2019. Can she follow this up with a good 2021? Yes, there's been so much time between those two time periods, but she's really kind of kicked on as one of the strikers in this team. Again, no Ashley Humphrey today for San Francisco. Here's Cassidy George, and now Cooper looking for Kalena Teufel. Jim Millender told me we're at home now, and it is our intention to press and be more familiar with this surface and really play our game, because the first 5 games of this season for San Francisco have been on the road. Excuse me, 4 games.
Yeah. It's nice to be back in Neguesco Field, home territory. And it couldn't be a nicer day, as you mentioned, Charles.
Yeah, very nice temperature out here, too. The wind is not too bothersome, at least. We'll continue to give you updates there. Here's Sprague. And that's the captain, Brummett, who gets it stolen here. In for Kalena Teufel on the right. Nicely defended away by Camille Ash. She drops her shoulder in, makes the tackle, and it's going to go for a corner for San Francisco.
USF is doing a very good job getting the ball at the forward's feet in and around the penalty area. Now they have to just do a little bit better job getting it across the face of the goal for those scoring opportunities.
Well, here's Marissa Vasquez on the corner. She raises her hand here. It's an out-swinging corner. And not able to reach her teammates. Last time these two teams met was in October of 2019, almost a year and a half ago here. The Pilots actually did beat the Dons 2-1 with a double overtime victory up at Merlot Field. And it was actually Coach Michelle French's first victory over USF at the time.
Charles, if I'm correct on the screen, does it show Coach French, who's up on the knoll above the benches opposite of you?
You know, I think that is actually one of her assistants.
Okay, well, that reminds me of Steve Neguesco used to do that all the time.
Yeah,
he rarely ever coached from the sidelines.
Yeah, well, of course, it's a better vantage point from that view on the knoll there. And thank you for providing that historical perspective. Let me get back to that in just a second. Here's Nadia Sawwan in the corner, trying to turn the corner. A couple times she's been in that little corner, that little pocket of space there. And again, that's just what she does provide for this Portland team up front. Again, very much that target player, that player that's going to hold the ball up top and play in the rest of her teammates, and they really like her. And actually, in fact, when chatting with the San Francisco coaching staff, they indicate her as a big threat and a key piece of this Portland team as well. So when you're getting notes and accolades from the other coaching staff, you know you're doing a good job. Here's Marlowe trying to spring the run of Kalena Teufel and settled down here by Portland. Nicely taken into the feet here of Jamie Rita, who's operating on the left. She'll come in on her right, I'm being told. And now looking for Taryn Reese in the corner. Taryn Reese, such a very important piece of this Portland team. Out for a goal kick. Again, Reese already with 5 goals so far on the year. And she had a hat trick against Oregon State. They won that game 4-3 after actually being down 2-0 and then 3-1 in that game at certain points. And that was their home opener that they played. And so just to give you some perspective of Taryn Reese, again, she is the player that really they go to. She is their talisman. And she had 2 goals actually last week in their first WCC victory against Pacific. And she is the WCC Offensive Player of the Week. Away here just in front of our broadcast position for a throw-in for San Francisco. This is Samantha Kerwood-Wagner, deputizing at this right back position. Jim Millender loves his outside backs to get up and down the field. He originally came in here as a striker or as a winger, but is kind of converted as a right back for Coach Jim Millender, and these wing back positions very much important, and clearly he values her being in the side and playing her in that position. Cooper looking for Teufel. Still Cooper, working very hard. You're going to get that from Sydney Cooper. Still Cooper, and she concedes a foul.
And that's real strong defending from the Pilots.
Throw in here for San Francisco, and Cat Hill asking Kerwood-Wagner to throw the ball in quickly. Nice to have Cat Hill back. The San Francisco Dons out for all of the 2019 season, and she was a freshman captain in the 2018 year. Here's Kalena Teufel, quickly on her right side. Tries to send it into the area. And now Taryn Reese. Just talked about her moments ago. 5 goals on the year, looking for more. Look at her just carry the ball over central midfield. Finding captain Gabby Brummett. Throw in now for Portland. And that cross came in. Goalkeeper Eby was looking for a foul. As tripped up was Kenna Roth in that sequence. Feet got tangled with her and Nadia Sawwan. You just talked about that sunny knoll on the far side there, Joe, and it looks like one of Michelle French's assistants is standing up on that far side, and it is very sunny on that far side knoll, and it does give you a better perspective because being pitch side, sometimes you don't always get the
well, for
better
years
perspective.
Here at Nagoesco Stadium, there was scaffolding.
Here's Marlowe on the turn, looking.
And Coach Nagoesco would sit up on top, with a really, really high view. Generally didn't say a word during the game, and then would talk to us at halftime. real nice perspective, I thought.
And scaffolding there on the east side.
Correct. Right in the middle of the field.
Nice. Nice. And you see a lot of modern coaches do that these days. They're sending an assistant up there, and then sometimes the head coach has the iPad out watching the game as well to see it.
That's right.
Well, that's modern football for you. This is Shea Adams looking to clear into the feet of Sophie French. Adams met with, though, by Jade Sprague. Sprague is a very impressive freshman in that defensive central midfield position from the Paradores Academy and from Laguna Beach, but already kind of stamping her mark.
Real strong youth club.
Here's Marie Marlowe pressing the ball all the way back to goalkeeper Madison Zamora, who is in her second start, her second ever collegiate start here. She got the start last week against Pacific. A senior from Phoenix, Arizona. Cleared away here by Roth. 15 minutes gone, 30 minutes to go here on the WCC network. San Francisco nil, Portland nil. Pleasure to be with you here, and thank you so much for tuning into our broadcast. By tuning into our broadcast today, you help grow the game, so thank you wherever you are. Corner kick here for Portland. It's going to be taken by Jamie Rita.
And Charles, I think it's safe to say that both teams still trying to find their way, trying to get into a rhythm. I think it's fair to say neither team has found their rhythm yet.
Jamie Rita, maybe something from the training ground here, out to Winkleman. Winkleman's service, looking to the back post. Molly Eby comes off her line. And the offside flag is raised. Molly Eby knew it right from the get-go there. As the Dons back line pushed up. Some fans watching from outside the stadium, socially distant from the parking lot there, talking about the grassy knoll, Joe, talking also about the little parking lot at the Corrette Center overseeing this field. And everybody looks socially distant and got their masks on out there, which is good, and enjoying a beautiful day of the football out here. Sprague looking for the feet of Cassidy George. And now Vasquez. Cleared away. Nydia Sawan pressing. Cat Hill all the way back to her goalkeeper, Eby. That ball bouncing around in midfield here. I think the battle's going to be won in this midfield here. Mudis, Brummett, and Winkleman versus Vasquez and George and Sprague for San Francisco. Good matchup this so far if you're watching from home. Both these two teams, similar records. Here's Sydney Cooper.
And that was a really good pass by Marlowe to really open up the play for the Dons and put the Pilots under a lot of pressure. They need to do that a little bit more often.
Restart coming.
That was a interesting call.
Restart coming here for Portland. Pressing nicely, winning back possession. This is Brummett, the captain on the day. All the way back to goalkeeper Zamora, a bit of a misstep there, and it's going to be a corner to San Francisco. And Portland wanted to recycle the ball. Slight misstep there. Corner coming for the Dons. Swerved into the box. There's Sprague. There's the shot. Comes off the bar. Rebound. Well, did it cross?
How did that stay out of the back of the net, Charles?
Yeah, I'm not so sure. But off the bar there, you never know what you're going to get off of a corner.
Well, that first corner was a real floater, wasn't it?
Collected by goalkeeper Zamora. Just to give you some more series history here between these two teams. Again, we are on the 20th minute mark. San Francisco 0, Portland 0. We do apologize that there is no score bug today. But from 1989 to 2013, Portland dominated this matchup with 25 wins in a row. Yeah, that's right. It's not until that time period in 2014 when things kind of started to change. That was San Francisco's first tie against this side in a long time as the ball was cleared away there. The last 5 have been 3 wins for Portland and 2 wins for San Francisco. So just to give you a little bit, again, of the perspective of the matchup today and the matchup to date. Here is Sydney Cooper to take this corner. Second corner in a matter of minutes for the Dons. Cooper hanging up in the air. Can Portland clear? Was Marie Marlowe fouled? Referee says play on. Did she get barged in the back? San Francisco isn't complaining about it too much. This is Roth. She's looking for Teufel, and it'll sail over the end line. Nice defending there by Taryn Reese, shoulder to shoulder against Kelena Teufel.
The Portland Pilots have really closed down USF when they've been in dangerous areas. They've closed them down very quickly.
Yeah, that's the idea. That's their intention today, to really kind of set up shop and be good defensively against this San Francisco team that's going to try to see if they can dominate possession and see if they can play kind of on top of you pressing-wise here at home. Here's Cooper.
Well, it's interesting, Charles, to see Sydney Cooper out wide. We've seen her for a number of years now playing that high central position.
So on, and now Reese. Reese on the left. Stolen away here. San Francisco maintains possession. Roth, and now Sprague. Kerwood Wagner looking for that pass down the sideline here for Sydney Cooper. Out for a throw-in. Substitution coming now for Portland. And Nadia Sawant is going to be withdrawn. Taryn Reese looks to play in that kind of center forward position. Was taken by Sawant, and that they entrust in her so much with her 5 goals so far on the year. Taryn Reese, again, the All-WCC preseason 11 list, and last year on the All-WCC team of the year. Very special player. And when she scores goals, she scores them in bunches. In fact, she hasn't had a single goal game so far this year. She's had a hat trick and a brace. Cooper looking for Marlowe. Nice idea there for San Francisco on the break. Nifty work here. Here's Cooper onto her left foot. Cooper, shot deflected. It's going to be Sprague onto her left side. Marissa Marissa Vasquez created that little opening for Sydney Cooper there. And Sydney Cooper on her left. But it was the good technical work there by Marissa Vasquez in that number 10 position. They're very, very excited about her. Now Taryn Reese on the break here. It's still Taryn Reese. Comes off the back of Kat Hill. The rebound ricochets around. And that took a very awkward bounce in front of Molly Eby. Otherwise, a Portland player was there to smash it home. "25 minutes played here at Negoesco Stadium. San Francisco 0, Portland 0, the WCC Networks in Stadium. Kenna Roth. This is Sprague. Looking for Cooper. And that's a fine tackle there by Ellie Walker. Walker on her right foot. Wants to cut inward, and now the return ball for Taryn Reese at the end line. She can't quite get there. Restart for San Francisco.
Walker had the complete left wing open, but she went back to the right into the defender. Really need to exploit the space behind the defender with her left foot, but she didn't feel comfortable, so she cut in on her right.
Ball over the top here, looking for Kalena Teufel. Nicely defended there by Camille Ash. Out for a Portland throw. Can we play 25 minutes? 0-0 the score on the WCC Networks. Throw in for San Francisco now. Both teams just lacking a little bit of that extra edge in the final third, wouldn't you say, Joe?
Absolutely. And in fact, I would say that they haven't really connected passes getting into the offensive third. So they need to do a better job at that. Then they'll have more scoring opportunities.
Here's Sydney Cooper's header, brought down by
Both
Ellie
teams
Walker.
defending well, but again, like you said, lacking that final pass.
This is Winkleman. Winkleman with a fine run on the right side. Winkleman still, shoulder to shoulder there. And it's headed the other way. San Francisco restart. Jim Millender said to the last two games, to the losses against BYU and Pepperdine, we played as good as we could have without winning. And now that we're home, we get a little bit more comfortable because we spent the first 4 games on the road and try to use this pitch and being at home to our advantage, familiar surroundings, etc. Throw-in coming for San Francisco. Here's Marie Marlowe, her shot, takes a deflection. Sydney Cooper chasing Zamora off her line and does a nice job cleaning up there.
Marlowe did a very good job to win the ball back after she lost it and then get a shot off.
Throw-in upcoming on the far side. And a substitution coming for San Francisco as well. I believe it's going to be Michelle Feinberg for Marie Marlowe. And it is. Excuse me. Kaylin Lunsford. I do apologize. Ball sails over the end line there. Goal kick to San Francisco. Well, Joe, there are certainly some nice connections between these two sides. One of which is the assistant coach for Portland, Maite Zabala, spent a long time here in San Francisco as an assistant coach under Mark Carr and under Jim Millender before she moved on to Boise State and now to Portland, and a very special alumnus of the University of California, Berkeley, and in the Cal Berkeley Hall of Fame, Maite Zabala. And then one of the Portland players, Hannah McCord, actually played at the San Francisco Elite Academy, which you're a part of, and was coached by assistant coach Pinder Najjar, who's San Francisco's assistant coach. And so, nice little connection crossover here on the West Coast between these two programs. Everyone usually knows each other. It's a small soccer world, as I like to say, but nice reunion between all those folks today.
I couldn't have said it better, Charles. Absolutely.
Now, we played half an hour. It is San Francisco 0, Portland 0, here on the WCC networks. Thank you so much for hanging with us. Apologies that there's no score bug today. Here's Cassidy George. Referee stops play, pulls it back. Jim Millender not happy that they didn't have the advantage there. We're under 15 minutes to play in this first half between these very well-matched sides. Portland.
They really are. It's quite even so far.
Yeah, Portland, 2 wins, 2 losses on the year. 1 win, 2 losses in the conference. San Francisco, 1 win, 2 losses, 1 tie on the year. No wins, 2 losses in the conference. So, again, very much kind of gesticulating for positioning in the conference as well. Usually the BYUs, the Santa Claras, the Pepperdines are there. And usually there's sometimes a 3rd, 4th, 5th team in the NCAA tournament. NCAA tournament a little different during the spring, but for the fall, I believe the regular 64 field will be back. It'll be a 48 field coming up here on Selection Day on April 18th. On the men's side as well, that has been reduced from 48 teams down to 32. So, again, very much little room for error for both sides, but they're building, and they're happy to do that, and that's what this is all about.
And I think that was Cat Hill with the attempted cross to the far post, just a little out of reach for the oncoming forward. I really like that idea. Again, it really stretches the play and opens up the defense.
San Francisco's 10th year under Jim Millender.
10th year already. Man, time flies. And it's been a lot of hard work, but like you said earlier, Charles, he has really established this program to be a contender in anywhere he plays across the country.
Yeah,
and that's not something that, you know, the program could claim before his arrival. So he's done a tremendous job. And this year is a good example. Look how many freshmen are playing, but look how many freshmen he's brought into the program to revamp the squad year over year.
Yeah, and the losses against Pepperdine and BYU, they're right there with BYU 2-2 2 weekends ago and conceded a goal in the last 15 minutes. And then last week they lost one of their best players, Ashley Humphrey, to an injury, and then in the last 20 minutes conceded a goal and lost 1-0.
That's right.
The same thing.
And
yeah.
Just speaking to Jim after the BYU game, you know, they didn't get the result they wanted, but he was really, really pleased with, number one, the goal they scored, or one of the goals they scored, and then the way they played. BYU is a, you know, top 10 program. He thought they were outstanding, but Jim was pretty pleased with the effort that his squad gave. Wasn't satisfied, but he thought that they were headed in the right direction so early in the season.
Throwing up coming here for San Francisco. 0-0 the score. San Francisco 0, Portland 0. 11 minutes and 40 seconds to play in this first half. looking for Kaylin Lunsford there. Throw in here for Portland. San Francisco trying to press hard and keep Portland in their final third, not letting them try to get out. Here's Winkleman. Crossfield ball there. Doesn't find MJ Rowe, one of the substitutes for this Portland team. Bianca Code now in the game for San Francisco, and she replaces Jade Sprague. Wearing the captain's armband, Bianca Code, also a product of the San Francisco Elite Academy.
And Bianca Code is someone who has worked tremendously hard year-round to get in to this squad, get more playing time. And in her senior year, I think she has been made captain by her teammates. So pretty proud moment for her.
Long ball dealt with, though, by Cat Hill. Away here by Kerwood Wagner. San Francisco looking to clear.
And Cat Hill brings back that presence that they so sorely missed in the defense last year. Cat Hill out with a knee injury the entire... How do we explain this, Charles? The
2019 season, which was a year and a half ago. Yeah, you got it. It's okay.
Or the past season. So,
yeah.
So they are... Jim Millender and staff are very, very happy to have her back. She is such a leader. She was actually the captain her freshman year. So this just being her second year of eligibility, again, really, really welcoming back to her.
Yeah, I know that injury was very difficult for Cat Hill. And it's nice to have her back, and she was a captain as a freshman. Here's Taryn Reese, though, against Cat Hill, and she's got a corner.
And in all of Jim Miller's career as a college, Division I college head coach, I think that's been the only time he's had a freshman elected captain. So that says something about Cat Hill.
Yeah, certainly speaks volumes. Reese is going to take the corner, the one that she created here. It's going to be short again. Into the feet of Winkleman. Back to Reese. Lots of space for Reese. And it's going to be a throw in here for Portland. Just in front of the VIP area. On the far side, of course, no fans at Negoesco Stadium due to COVID protocols.
Well, it's going to be interesting, Charles, to see if there's goals in this game. Is the next goal, the last goal, is that the winning goal? Or will it open up the game to more goals? It should be interesting because it is a very tight game so far. No team, in my opinion, has really the momentum or any advantage.
Well, that's also kind of what's special about this game so far. And usually you say it best. It's going to be the first team that makes a mistake. I'm not sure if that's what I want to quote you on today, but I would say it is very well matched, and it's nice to call this game with you here on a beautiful Saturday.
Yeah, that's true, Charles. And, you know, oftentimes good offenses create defensive mistakes.
7 minutes and 20 seconds to go here on the WCC Network. Charles Wolin and Joe Dugan with you. Pleasure and very grateful to bring you this broadcast inside from Negoesco Stadium. Joe Dugan is socially distant today, and hopefully we will be back together one day, brother. And everybody else that's tuning in,
soon, Charles.
and everybody else that's tuning in that would like to go to a stadium one day, but make sure you wear your mask, and if you can get vaccinated, please get your vaccination if you're able to get your vaccine and you're eligible to get your vaccine. Just a PSA from here, because without fans, it is very tough for the players, and as a commentator, from a commentator perspective, with atmosphere, love atmosphere and love fans supporting their team, their club. There's nothing like it. So
And
stay
Charles,
safe,
on that
everybody.
note,
Yeah.
And Charles, on that note, USF has opened up space at the Koret Center for a Kaiser vaccination center.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, you can, if you're a Kaiser patient, you can get vaccinated at USF. Here is Beth Ann Perry doing really well into the feet of Kaylin Lunsford. She's been good since she's come on, Lunsford. And then cleared away here by Portland. And that was a big, big hoof by Brummett, the captain. And now Portland able to clean their line.
The Pilots really closing down. They really clamped down on the attack as soon as the Dons enter that offensive third. They are very well trained, and they close the ball immensely quickly.
Ball still in play here. Referee, assistant referee right in front of my position here does not raise his flag. Here's Taryn Reese on the turn. So good, so quick. Wants to get the ball at her feet. Can they get her back to her? Kat Hill just had a little bit of a chat there with Kerwood Wagner saying, hey, if you're going to peel off, I got to stay with Taryn Reese here and be able to make the defensive play. Just a little bit of the leadership skills that Kat Hill brings that we talked about moments ago. 0-0 the score. There is 5 minutes to go in this first half on the WCC networks and on Stadium. Cleared away by Sophie French. Brought down here by Kenna Roth. And now Isabella Esparza. Esparza looking for code.
And that's that pass that they're missing. They just can't penetrate that last pass into the offensive third. It's really hurting the Dons.
Free kick coming now for San Francisco.
Jim Millender asking, this is multiple fouls. Why is that not a yellow card yet? Because they keep fouling and stopping the momentum of the Dons. Jim Millender's asking for a caution. At what point do they give a caution? You can't stop the momentum time and time again without being cautioned. That's Jim Millender's position.
Kat Hill will take this. Plenty up in the area for San Francisco. Crossed on in, it hangs up in the air. Will it fall here? Portland looking to clear. They finally do. Portland trying to clear their lines. San Francisco trying to keep them in this last passage of play in the first half. 3 minutes and 10 seconds to go. Here's Kat Hill all the way back to her goalkeeper, Molly Eby, but here's Taryn Reese. Will she have a go from there? Not able to get the ball all the way into her grasp, and then looking to spring the run very smartly of Gabby Brummett. That was good stuff by Taryn Reese. She probably had to be just a tad quicker to get that off, otherwise Brummett was through in on goal. Here's Lunsford down the sideline. And then cleared away by Portland for a throw-in. 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. San Francisco 0. Portland 0 here on the WCC network. That's Jamison Ward looking to swerve the ball in. Dealt with, though, here by MJ Rowe. Two minutes to go in this first half. Nicely done there by Esparza. Excuse me, that was Gabby Rizzo, the substitute. Apologize. And now Anna Gorlock switching the field. Kerwin Wagner from Cat Hill. Looking for Beth Ann Perry, the junior from Mountain View. Featured a lot in the 2019 season, especially in the midfield three. Started many games in that area too. Portland neatly trying to get out of their area. 1 minute here on the clock. Code. Roth looking for Jamison Ward. Roth, and now Ward. A sophomore from Seattle, Washington. 30 seconds to go in this first half. Now down to 20 seconds in the half. Cleared away by Portland. And that last clearance, almost, but basically at halftime here for San Francisco. And Portland notched at 0-0 between these two teams. San Francisco 0, Portland 0. San Francisco looking to try to get a win, and a win at home as well. Their first game here at Negoesco Stadium for Portland, looking to follow up against their nice result against Pacific last weekend. It's matched very nicely. It is honors even, somewhat on a knife's edge, but still looking for that first goal. Thank you so much for tuning in to our broadcast with the first half. We'll be back with the second half in a little bit. You don't want to go anywhere. At the break, San Francisco 0, Portland 0. Cheers for tuning in. We are back for the second half here at Negewesco Stadium. If you tuned into the first half, you'll notice that these two teams are very well matched indeed. So it is 0-0 at the start of the second half here at Negewesco Stadium, the heart of the 7x7, which is San Francisco. Negewesco Stadium nestled 3 miles away from the Pacific Ocean down Fulton Street, a very iconic street here in San Francisco. My name is Charles Wolin, and I'm joined by my commentating partner, Joe Dugan, who is socially distant from the upper echelons of the Corrette Center parking lot here due to COVID protocols, and very grateful and very honored to be able to bring you this game, of course, between these two sides. The last 5 meetings between the two of them, it's been very much been back and forth. Portland has won 3 of the last 5. San Francisco has won 2 out of the last 5. But the series history totally dominated by Portland in its time. They had a 25-match winning run in this fixture between 89 and 2013. So both of these two programs, they're on the rise. They're looking to find that next level here. Again, San Francisco 0, Portland 0 on the WCC network, and we're kicked off for the second half. Again, both sides looking to find that extra edge, that extra level to try to get 3 points today, trying to get a victory, see if they can move up in the West Coast Conference standings. It's a bit muddled in the middle, and that's where both of these two teams find themselves. Portland a win and 2 losses. San Francisco just 2 losses so far on the year within the conference.
Charles, I just had a visit from Samantha Jennings, better known as CJ, USF non-star forward.
That's awesome to hear, and hopefully she's doing well, and she's
doing great, and we have the I think a better part of the men's team up here rooting on their colleagues.
Well, there is Kalena Teufel, and she goes to ground there. The assistant referee is motioning here for a physical trainer, and they'll get out to Kalena Teufel. Nice to see that nice to hear that the men's team is cheering on and being supportive of the women's side here at Negewesco Stadium. And Teufel down on the ground being tended to by the trainers and Jim Millender. We've just only played a minute into this second half here. And Teufel...
And Charles, from my vantage point, I could not see that, so let's hope she's okay and it's not a serious injury or a long delay, Charles, like we had last Sunday in the men's game.
Yeah, she is walking off, and then she's not able to put pressure on her right knee there.
And again, from your vantage point, could you tell what happened?
I couldn't. I could not,
okay.
Unfortunately. But she is being tended to here. There is a substitution now. Play goes on. 0-0 to score between Portland and San Francisco. Kalena Teufel now just off for an injury here.
Injury substitution for San Francisco, number 99,
And Sydney Cooper is now in Kalena Teufel's position on that right wing. Teufel had started as a center forward actually in this game, and then drifted out to that right wing to begin this second half. Here is Cooper. Defended well here by Portland. They did defend very well indeed in that first half, Joe. Camille Ash kind of being one of those key players that did that. Swerved on in here by Kaylin Lunsford. And a hanging shot up in the wind there not able to bother the goalkeeper. San Francisco playing their first home game on the season. Portland looking to win back-to-back games so far this season, after a 2-0 victory against Pacific with Taryn Reese's 2 goals. Here is Cooper. Cooper's cross, it hangs up in the air, dealt with again by Portland, but a bit of a miss kick there. But then the follow-up is dealt with. Taryn Reese gets clattered into, and referee does blow his whistle for the foul.
Well, I like the pace that the Dons have come out with. Knowing Jim Millender, his halftime talk was all about how you respond in the first 5 minutes of the second half. So looks like they're coming out with a high intensity and a high pressing line. Let's see if it bothers the Pilots.
This is Marissa Vasquez, and she's fouled. Restart upcoming to San Francisco now. Quickly taken, looking for Lunsford. Brought down here by Vasquez, the freshman.
And Charles, you're lower than I am, so the wind seems to be picking up a bit. How does it feel down there?
You know, since I'm kind of nestled up against the press box here and in the on the west stands, that's kind of where our makeshift area is. It's quite calm actually, right where I am. On the far side
Charles,
of the field.
When we get back to normal, we might have to be down there together in the future.
Yeah.
Looks like a good spot.
It is quite calm in this area.
We could call it amongst the fans,
right?
Amongst the people.
5 minutes gone here in this second half. San Francisco 0, Portland 0 on the WCC network. The ball trickling through. Goalkeeper Eby comes out. She spills it for just a second, but then recovers there. Pressure from Portland.
Did she spill it, or was she knocked into?
Well, I think a combination there of both.
And 9 times out of 10, you hear a whistle for that, but
right.
Referee chose to play on.
Yeah. Brought down here by Brummett. And then Cat Hill for San Francisco. Again, really nice to have Cat Hill back if you're a San Francisco Dons fan. She is a sophomore.
You know, from a defensive perspective, Charles, both teams are doing an exceptional job because you look for space to exploit. When you're in possession, you look for space to exploit, and both teams are eliminating that space. So defensively, this is a really, really tough match.
Kalena Teufel is now back in the game, and she suffered that injury.
That's a good sign.
Yeah, she suffered that injury just about 5 minutes ago, but immediately substituted right back into the game here. And just kind of a tactical note, and see if you potentially agree with me here, but her best moments have been on the wing and being on the ball and making good runs. So it was a little bit of a surprise that she was played centrally to start this game, but now out on the wing. So obviously the idea there is probably to get her more on the ball. Speaking of on the ball, here's Winkleman for Portland. And now French into the feet of Muddis, who sprays the ball out wide, does nicely here for Rita. And now Marlowe.
That was a really good interception by USF, but then they just gave it away way too easy, way too quickly.
Here's Taryn Reese. 5 goals on the season. She had 2 last week against Pacific. Referee says play on here. Here's Marie Marlowe. Lots of space and time in front of her here on the left. She has Lunsford. Centrally. And now Roth. Here's Esparza. Now Lunsford. And cleared away. Taryn Reese, can she alleviate some pressure? And then she is fouled. San Francisco 0, Portland 0 on the WCC network. Still looking for our first goal. We do apologize that there's no score bug today on your screen.
I missed the score bug, Charles.
Well, of course you do, because you're out in the parking lot, but you're with me here on the broadcast,
Exactly.
so you can kind of see it. And Lunsford is offside there, flag raised for offside.
And although she was offside, that's the type of runs that USF needs to make needs to execute on those passes. That's really gonna loosen up the defense and keep them honest. Sometimes teams can get preoccupied with playing small ball, a lot of short passes, but you got to open it up and keep everyone honest.
Here is Winkleman. Out for a throw-in. Out for a Portland throw-in. Here's Reese at the end line. Does she win a corner? It takes a really awkward ricochet. Maybe you're right about the win there, Joe. Here's Sprague.
Little swirl there.
Almost played about 10 minutes into this second half. San Francisco 0, Portland 0. Cassidy George looking to spring the run of Teufel. Roth and Cat Hill have to communicate there. And it's going to be a throw-in for San Francisco now. Not much ebb and flow to the beginning of this second half here, Joe. Lots of throw-ins and free
And
kicks,
I would
many
say the same about
stoppages.
the first half. Yeah, I agree.
Free kick here for Portland, just barely in San Francisco's half. Taken by Portland and swerved on in, and a little bit of a shout for a penalty there. And it was taken by Ellie Walker. Apologize for that delay there. And
Charles, from my vantage point, I think the player might have been out of bounds, but man, that sure looked like a shove from behind on part of Evie, the USF goalkeeper.
yeah, it's gotten a little bit chippy the last few minutes or so. I've just seen Cassidy George get into it a little bit with Camille Ash as well. There was not a foul called in that sequence, but you can
And
tell the
Charles,
intensity as it ratchets it up. The stakes get higher and higher. Eby off her line now, and Cat Hill able to beat Eby off her line to clear the ball away.
Well, when teams can't find their rhythm, games tend to get chippy. And the further it goes on without teams getting into their groove, it's going to get chippy and it's going to get physical.
Here is Mudis with possession. Down to the feet of Ellie Walker. Brummett for Rita. Rita in the corner. And Rita ends up fouling Marissa Vasquez. Again, another restart here. 33 minutes to go in this second half on the WCC network at San Francisco 0, Portland 0. Last time these two teams met a year and a half ago in Portland, a double overtime victory for Portland. They won 2-1 in that game.
And Charles, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's been very few substitutions in this game. Commentator's curse.
Well, there have been quite a few. They all kind of happened at the end of the first half there. But
Two or three, correct?
yeah, probably from both sides as well.
Okay.
But we'll have to see how that comes into play. And just so everybody knows that's tuning in, it's a game per week. So it's not 2 games per week as the shot comes in and it fizzes just wide there in front of Molly Eby. So teams get to prepare for 1 game per week as opposed to having to play Thursday and then Saturday or a Friday-Sunday combination. That helps the players recover quite a bit. And really, I think, gets them at their potential. And just speaking to Leonard Griffin on the men's side of things, he's very happy that they only have 1 game to prepare for per week because it allows players to rest, recover, and really be able to compete. Isabella Esparza. And now Marie Marlowe. A little bit of time to run. And then cleared back in. Portland with a back 4 in this second half. They got 2 in front of the back 4 as well. Very compact defensively, Portland.
Very disciplined, yes. Very compact and very disciplined.
Yeah.
Both teams not giving up too much on the defensive end. And I think the first one who does will pay the price.
Throw in on the far side. Handled by Teufel, and now Sydney Cooper. She's pushed off the ball. Portland wins it back. Can Taryn Reese track this down? It's going to be Roth. Wants to play all the way back to her goalkeeper. Smartly does. And look at San Francisco kind of alleviate the pressure, but that second ball by Sydney Cooper's got to be a little bit better into the feet of George. And now Esparza. Marlowe. And here is Kenna Roth, floating a ball into the area for Kalena Teufel. Teufel takes a shot on her left. Doesn't get all the way through. We've played an hour. We've got 30 minutes to go. It is San Francisco 0, Portland 0 here on the WCC network. Roth. Vasquez, Sprague. Good foray this for San Francisco.
They're able to keep possession. They're just not able to penetrate into that dangerous area yet. They are keeping possession. They are using the space out wide, but struggling to really get in and around the goal.
Cooper. And now George. And a throw in. Upcoming for San Francisco. San Francisco has not played in a 1-goal game so far this year. So a win at Pacific 1-0, a tie 1-1. BYU loss. BYU beating San Francisco by a scoreline of 3-2, and then last week at Pepperdine, scoreline of 1-0. There are lots of 1-goal games separating teams, or not, for San Francisco.
Well, one great thing about Jim Millender's teams is they're going to fight until the final whistle. They're going to keep going and going and going until they are told the game is over. So that's what is exciting about every game, is you never know what's going to happen until the final whistle's blown.
Here's Winkleman for Portland on the left side. Tackled away nicely by Hill. Kerwood Wagner, though, gives it away. The shot comes in, and Eby deals with it. Helena Teufel switching flanks here. And now in the game is Kaya Pagoni. Has a goal so far this year, Pagoni. And she'll operate just below Sydney Cooper, the freshman from Upland, California. Here is Taryn Reese. Chance to run at the San Francisco back line. There's a ball by Sophie French, headed from the center channel to the left side. And now Rita, she's got a throw, takes it quickly. Referee says play on. And now Ash. Nice overlapping run for Winkleman, cleared away by Cat Hill.
And that's really good coverage by Cat Hill. She really picks and chooses her moments, and great coverage by her.
Scoreline here, San Francisco 0, Portland 0. 26 minutes and 12 seconds to go here in this game. Roth away. And there's a save by Molly Eby right there. That was quickly taken. She had to be right off of her line there, and was. Throw it on the far side.
I have to say, Charles, I'm a big fan of this one game a week. I know it's exciting as a commentator to call multiple games a week, but in terms of the quality of play and the lack of fatigue on those Sunday games, it's pretty good.
It's Cooper, and she followed up there with that lazy ball in the air, fell to her there, was able to get her shot away. But it's a little ball like that from Sprague that really allowed Sydney Cooper to do what she does best. There's Helena Teufel, and as she applies a little bit of pressure, the ball bounces back to Zamora. Again, her second start on the year, Madison Zamora. She had the clean sheet last week against Pacific. Taryn Reese had the 2 goals last week against Pacific. She leads her team with 5 goals on the season. And there she is right there. Brummett. And now Rita.
And between the pace of this field and a little bit of wind, man, that was fast. Went out of bounds fast, didn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, very quick play. Just halfway through this second half now. It is San Francisco 0, Portland 0 on the WCC network. Thank you so much for tuning into this game. These two teams very well evenly matched. And both sides haven't had the clearest of chances thus far. Still waiting for the opening goal. Here's Pagoni. She does well. Tries to get the ball out wide for Teufel. Handled nicely here by Shea Adams. And now Ash. Ball over the top for Taryn Reese. Here's Winkleman on the turn, still Winkleman, her shot, and she's gonna drag that one wide. Jim Millender shouting from the sidelines to his team here. You'd like to get a home victory.
Especially the opening home victory.
Yeah, and he would like to avenge the 2 losses in a row that they have just had the last 2 weekends in a row. Here is Kalena Teufel. Teufel upended. And Shea Adams not happy with that call. And again, that Portland back line just very well disciplined, very well run back there. Adams, Ellie Walker, Camille Ash. San Francisco still trying to get their passing together here.
Yeah, they're just not putting enough consecutive passes together. And neither is Portland for that matter, and credit the defenses for that.
Here's Sprague. And now Cooper chasing. Can she win the ball back? Yes, she can. Sydney Cooper. Kalena Teufel on the turn. This is wonderful stuff. It's Kalena Teufel. Put goalward. And it's Vasquez. Out here for a corner. Well, nicely done. Probably the best scoring opportunity San Francisco has had. Created by Kalena Teufel, back to goal, and turns forward. Has a go. And as she has a go, it almost looked like a cross and found the feet of Vasquez. Her shot saved by the goalkeeper and now out for a corner. It's going to be taken by Sydney Cooper. Kat Hill is in there. Sydney Cooper, it's hanging up in the air and not able to meet any of her teammates there.
Charles, I'm sorry if I'm sounds like I'm speaking over you. I'm not trying to.
No, go ahead,
Joe.
Joe. Go ahead, Joe. Now Hannah McCord in the game. San Francisco Elite Academy product, and we talked about her earlier. She was coached by Pinder Najjar, who is the assistant coach for San Francisco. So nice little connection there between those two. Youth coach and now assistant coach of San Francisco, does both jobs. A lot of assistant coaches have head coaching positions and coaching positions within youth soccer too, within their respective regions and areas. And then Maite Zabala, who's the assistant coach of Portland, was the assistant coach here in San Francisco for many, many years and is very much beloved by the fans and by many players that have played here. Here is Sprague. Does she see the goalkeeper off her line? She finds Kalena Teufel with a beautiful ball. It's Kalena Teufel into the area. Still Teufel. Now Esparza in the corner, trying to regain possession. And the referee gives the free kick. It's going Esparza's way. So a free kick now for San Francisco. And maybe just the set piece that they need potentially right here. Cooper's last corner, not able to be met with by her teammates. But maybe one little passage of play is going to make the difference here. Jamison Ward is in there. Cat Hill is in there. Pagoni is in there. Cooper's ball. It's nice. It's driven. It's to the back post. It's Sprague. Put back in here. Out to Cooper again. Cooper's ball back into the mix. Headed on. Jamison Ward asking for a handball. Every single person's asking for a handball on the far side. The coaching staff, all of San Francisco, is asking for that, especially Jim Millender on that far side. And you rarely see him ask for a penalty either. And for those of you that are tuning in, obviously there is no replay or video assistant replay for the referees here, so we would never really know anyway. And we also don't have replay on our broadcast today. We apologize, or a score bug, and we also apologize about that. It is San Francisco 0, Portland 0 on the WCC network. 17 minutes to go here at Negewesco Stadium in the heart of San Francisco at the 7x7, where Parker and Fulton Streets meet. A beautiful place, a beautiful day for soccer, and when we're able to be back together here in this stadium, we will. So wear your masks and get vaccinated when your turn comes. Excuse my long-winded station identification here. 0-0 the score between two very well-matched teams. Portland, very good defensively, stingy defensively, and USF still trying to find those final balls into that last attacking area and make that happen. But the best moment falling moments ago here, created by Teufel, swerved in by Vasquez and saved by the goalkeeper, Zamora. Is there more for San Francisco in this final 15 minutes? Otherwise, we're going to head to overtime. Here's Brummett. And now Winkleman. Sets up here nicely. It's Sophie French. Is she going to have a go? Yes, she does. Blocked by San Francisco's Jamison Ward. Ball on the side here. And it's Emily Collier.
And that's
now Ward.
Really strong defending.
Here's Cooper. And now Teufel has a chance to run. Overlapping run here by Esparza. San Francisco throw-in on this near side. Exactly 15 minutes to go in this game. San Francisco 0, Portland 0 on the WCC network. Shouts of a handball with Collier, not given. Into the feet of Esparza. She's been really bright and intelligent this last 5-6 minutes of play for San Francisco. And now Cat Hill. She does well. For Vasquez. Still Marissa Vasquez. That's nicely worked. And then Portland has to clear away, and they do through the feet of Brummett. And now Taryn Reese. And she's offside. Well, you can tell every time Portland has the ball, they're looking to spring that run of Taryn Reese. On the counterattack, San Francisco trying to build up through midfield, almost finding that final ball. Will it fall to a San Francisco foot, or will Portland be able to find themselves a winner through Reese et al. Or one of their midfielders? Here's Collier. Always a bright spark plug for this Portland team. Emily Collier on this right side. Adams. Throw in for San Francisco. On the far side. Another substitution now coming.
Substitution for Portland, number 19, Aubrey Turner, replacing number 4, Shea Adams.
So Shea Adams out, Aubrey Turner in for Portland in this final 13 minutes of this game. Both teams looking to get a victory today. San Francisco on a 2-match losing run. Portland looking to make it 2 matches in a row after the win against Pacific. Esparza, and now Sprague. She does well to wield off her defender there, Brummett. Brummett goes to ground, grabs her ankle for a second, and is now back up. Esparza. Nice ball for Kalena Teufel. A little bit of a slip there. Teufel has a little bit of daylight with her as well. Teufel for Esparza. Back onto her right foot. Esparza still. That's fine work by the left back for San Francisco. Again, this little combination working really well. Still Esparza. It's for Cooper. Cooper's shot closed down and not able to get all the way through. But a very good sequence. And you can see what they were trying to do. Ball at the end line, swerved in, right at the feet of Cooper, and then blocked.
USF's trying to spread the ball out, right? Trying to exploit those spaces. Just having a tough time stringing together 4 or 5 passes in a row.
Well, here is Vasquez. And Vasquez has a corner. Marie Marlowe gonna make way here. Roth is in there. Cathill is in there. Pigoni is in there. And you've got Jamison Ward in there as well as Jade Sprague. Cooper, it's nicely driven. It's Pigoni, it's Sprague. And Sprague does well, but the goalkeeper read that all the way, Madison Zamora. 10 minutes and 30 seconds to go in this second half. Jade Sprague rising to the occasion there off of the corner. And the goalkeeper, Madison Zamora, did her part for her team. And now the wind whipping in just a little bit into Negoesco Stadium. 10 minutes to go exactly. We've played 80 minutes. San Francisco, 0. Portland, 0. Here's Kalena Teufel. She's had some success on this left side for the Dons. She's gonna get to the end line, swerves it in, cleared away, and another corner coming for San Francisco.
I agree with you, Charles. She's had a lot of space and a lot of opportunities here on the left-hand side. If she could whip that ball in front of the goal a little bit more often, would create more problems for the Pilot defense. Jim Millender's been very happy with her start of the season this year, coming out strong in many of their opening games, particularly rave reviews after the BYU game.
Cooper, Ward's in there, ball looping up. The goalkeeper Zamora comes for it. Well, San Francisco, dangerous on set pieces, and I definitely know for a fact that Jim Millender teams certainly practice set pieces over and over on the training ground. San Francisco throw in here. Portland asking for the throw in. Here's Sprague. She had that header off the corner moments ago. Looking to switch the field is Hill. Marlowe retains possession. Portland, can they work something up here? The referee does blow his whistle.
She is tenacious, isn't she? Not afraid to put her body, her head, her face into the ball at any expense. just to win the ball for the Dons.
Hill switching the field. Kalena Teufel. Winkleman defending her now. She gets past Winkleman. It's Kalena Teufel still. End line. Teufel cuts it back. And it did go over the end line before she did cross it.
That's still a really good run. You really like to see that out of your wingers. Get down to the byline and pull it back in front of goal.
Portland's Gabby Brummett, down on the ground here. And she's certainly gonna need some attention as well, as the Portland trainer will run out to her. Gabby Brummett still on the ground and being tended to. 7 minutes and 27 seconds to go in this second half. San Francisco 0, Portland 0 on the WCC network, live from Negoesco Stadium. Joe Dugan is with us here, socially distant. And Brummett back up on her feet, walking as well. The guest services team certainly has a routine here that right in front of me here, one of them sprints to the golf cart just in case they need to take a player off, and just, it's like a 100-meter dash right in front of my vantage point here. And so I'm glad that they're on it and that everything's all good. But sometimes, I know last week we encountered an injury that was not very good indeed, and that we were on the air for, and that we went to break for as well. But and I'm glad that that got sorted out last week in the USF versus Santa Clara men's match. But right in front of my little broadcast position here, just a 100-meter dash down the sideline. So glad that she's back up on her feet, and glad that we don't need that golf cart. Here is Marie Marlowe. Marlowe crossing the ball in. Not met with, though, by any of her teammates as Nadia Sawan slips. Here's Cooper. Back to goal. Still Cooper, looking for one of her teammates. She's slipping in Marlowe. Marie Marlowe still onto her left side. Marie Marlowe looking for Ward. Ward was asking for it on a platter. Pagoni's in there. Cat Hill's all the way up the field, too. San Francisco looking...
really, really looking for a goal here, aren't they, to finish out this game? They don't want to go to overtime.
Cat Hill's ball. Cleared away. Here's Esparza. And now Kalena Teufel, her shot on the turn. Goes for a corner.
That was an interesting signal the referee gave there. I'm not sure what he was indicating when he put his hands above his head.
Yeah,
he was a throw-in.
He was showing that there was a touch off of that.
I see.
Yeah, he was flicking his hands there. Roth is in there. Ward is in there. Cat Hill is in there. Cat Hill's header. Save made by the goalkeeper, Zamora. Jamison Ward still, and then Zamora able to recover. Well, Jamison Ward was picking and prodding and even trying to the back heel there. And she was so close, getting in the right areas there. But Zamora able to recover. But every corner, every set piece, San Francisco is dangerous. Kerwood Wagner looking for Cooper. Now Taryn Reese. Her opportunity to kickstart her team. Nadia Sawan, too much for her on that far side. Throw-in coming now for San Francisco. Under 5 minutes to go. 85th minute of this game. San Francisco 0, Portland 0 on the WCC network.
I would say the momentum is in the Dawn's favor. They have been in front of their goal much more often than the Pilots, knocking on the door for that goal, that first goal, maybe the last goal of this game.
Yeah, at this point, you know, one of them is probably going to be the winner. So, and or if it heads to overtime. 4 minutes to go. San Francisco 0, Portland 0. He's there to be a winner in this game. Kerwood Wagner, ball hanging up in the air. It's Kalena Teufel, top of the area. And now Isabel Esparza. Esparza on that left side. It's going to be handled by Pagoni. Kaya Pagoni. It's a long throw-in, looking for Sprague. Cleared away by Portland.
And look how many players Portland has back behind the ball. Nearly 11. It was at least 10.
3 minutes to go. Sprague on the turn. Finds Cat Hill. Can she switch the point of play? Hill. And now Cooper. Nice run here by Marie Marlowe. Was she upended? Portland does well. And they're just looking to clear their lines, Portland.
Absolutely. At this point, they're just trying to hold on.
2 minutes and 30 seconds to go in the second half. San Francisco 0, Portland 0. There's a goal in the next few minutes. It most likely will be the winner. If not, we are headed to 2 potential 10-minute sudden death overtime periods. Here's Marie Marlowe, Pagoni, Cooper, of a hand and then cleared away. Roth. Esparza.
So they really got to put the ball in and around the box. They really need to go forward, and they need to do it with a bit of urgency.
Well, Portland able to alleviate some pressure here. Roth will see this one out and win a throw-in very smartly with 1.5 minutes to go. About 1 minute and 20 seconds to go now. One minute to go here. Here's Portland's potential last foray. Winkleman. She had possession. Esparza, can she clear her line? Yes, she can. Roth just hoofs it away with 45 seconds to go. Nil-nil the score. It's been zeros the entire time here. Can Cooper get to it? A little bit of a slip here. It's going to be a San Francisco throw here in the final 25 seconds. Is there a last little chance? 20 seconds to go, and now 15. Kalena Teufel sees the clock. Back into the feet of Esparza. Esparza now down the left side for Teufel. 10 seconds to go. Everyone's counting down the clock on the far side. Cleared away. It's Ward! Oh, and it was just so close, but so wide. Wow, a chance to win the game at the death there by Jamison Ward. Well, Ward,
That one back.
yeah, Ward had to go as the goalkeeper had come out. A bit of a mix-up in the back line. She's getting pats on the back there from her teammates. And
Who would have thought they'd have such an opportunity in the closing seconds?
yeah, she's getting hugs all around there. And one of the better opportunities of this
The
game.
goalie was out. Well, I didn't realize that. Wow, what an opportunity, but not to be.
Well, realizing the opportunity at the time, it was Kelaine Teufel who created that chance on the left side. Good success for her on the left. Better from San Francisco in the second half. Stingy defense from Portland, but everything going through Taryn Reese for them. She's looking to capitalize on her 2-goal match from last week. We're going to head into overtime. It's San Francisco 0, Portland 0 here on the WCC network. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a little bit.
Yes. Yes, sir. Much clearer. Yeah. How you doing? Good. It's, the game is very discombobulated the entire time. But that's the way it goes. They're fighting. Both teams are fighting.
Welcome back to the WCC Network. Charles Wolin and Joe Dugan with you. A pleasure and privilege. Very grateful to bring you this game here. Joe Dugan is socially distant. I am at Negoesco Stadium today. 0-0 between these two teams. Nothing separating them over the 90 minutes. Portland very good defensively. Stingy, well-disciplined, well-drilled. San Francisco looking to find that final ball in the final third. It's out for a Portland corner here early into this second half. Portland won last week. Go ahead, Joe. Sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry for the delay. Go ahead.
Portland won last week against Pacific. They're looking to add to that. And then San Francisco, 2-match losing run, looking to make sure that they can get a result here at home. Corner to Portland. Swerved on in, Sawan is there, and the goalkeeper, Molly Eby, is there. Joe, what did you make of the end of that second half there with San Francisco having a couple good chances and Portland just hanging in there defensively, and that's kind of what they do, and looking to find the outlet of Taryn Reese when they can. But kind of your prognosis going into this overtime.
I thought USF had the momentum. I thought USF was really, really pressing. They had 2 or 3 opportunities. They fell short. But they really were pressing, weren't they?
Here is Brummett. Back to goal, Sawan. Still Nadia Sawan. That is really nicely done by Kenna Roth. And I've been really impressed with Kenna Roth today. I've just got to say, she looks like a veteran already, the freshman from Newburgh, Oregon. She actually played at the Portland Thorns Academy, so it's kind of the return of a Portland player. Here's Sawan on the turn, and her shot over the bar. Seven minutes, 30 seconds.
Not a great start for the Dons here in the second half. They're giving the ball away way too easy in very dangerous positions, setting themselves up for counterattacks.
Yeah, and also the wind.
They really need to sharpen up.
The wind is blowing, Joe, from the south to the north here. Taryn Reese. Vasquez. Now throw in for Portland. On the front foot, as you had mentioned, Joe. Teufel. Lots of space to run, Kalena Teufel. Still Teufel. She's got Bianca Code to her left. Kalena Teufel elects to go herself. Can't find that little pass there at the top of the 18. Taryn Reese upended. Six minutes, 15 seconds left to go in this half. And a push and a free kick here for the Dons. Last 5 games between these two teams, very even as well. 3 wins by Portland, 2 by San Francisco. Portland has totally dominated the history of this fixture, though. They had a 25-match winning run between 1989 and 2013. Obviously, times are different now. Coach Jim Millender has certainly stabilized this San Francisco program. And Michelle French is trying to get Portland back to the upper echelon of the West Coast Conference, as she knows how to do. Portland bench cheering that corner coming up here, their second corner of this beginning part of the first period of overtime. Can they find something from it?
Well, this is a dangerous, dangerous opportunity for Portland, particularly because so many players are tired, fatigue starting to set in.
Well, Gabby Brummett is notioning where she wants the ball. Munnis is in there, Sawan is in there, headed away by Jade Sprague. Here's Cassidy George. Still George on the sideline here. And one back here by Portland. And their intensity.
And the momentum so far has been all Portland.
Yeah, totally. Winkleman in the back line, and she clears that away for a San Francisco throw. 4 minutes, 25 seconds left in the first period of overtime here on the WCC network. Charles Wolin and Joe Dugan with you on the call. Here's Sawan. Now a beautiful little rainbow over the top there by Taryn Reese. And you just have to say ole to that because that's beautiful. Seriously, this is Sawan now. Good chance here for Portland. Sawan headed in, and Eby was right there. It was Jamie Rita at the far post, and good combination, good build-up play. Sawan at the end line to Rita. Rita is the only other Portland player to score a goal besides Taryn Reese. They have 6 goals on the year. 5 of them have been scored by Taryn Reese, the other one by Jamie Rita. And Marie Marlowe in the corner there, and 2 Portland players clattering into each other. Referee gonna have a chat with Marlowe and Winkleman. Are they both going to the book is the question. Well, he says play on.
And I thought that was very well handled by the referee. No need to give out cards if you can give them the same warning without a card. Not sure how that was a foul on the Dons, though. I thought the ball was out of bounds. Portland Pilots.
Well, 3 minutes and 12 seconds to go in this first half of overtime. Portland's had a couple of chances and opportunities off of the set pieces thus far in this one. And they've been really good. As you had mentioned, they have a lot of momentum.
Yeah, they're really playing as a unit. They're trying to go forward. Again, defense giving up extremely little space, staying compact, and that's part of being disciplined.
Two minutes to go here on the WCC network. San Francisco 0, Portland 0. Pleasure to be with you here. Here's Sawan on the turn. Maybe a final chance for her in Portland. The end of this first half. Well, the benches love it. They love the energy between these two teams. Very well matched. And the shot comes in there from distance. And a minute.
And not too far off.
Yeah, a minute and 5 seconds to go here. And 1 minute left in this period. The winner take all 3 points in the table in the West Coast Conference 2021 spring season. Shouts of a foul here. Taryn Reese in the corner, 30 seconds to go. Taryn Reese eats for Rita. Rita's header, and Eby just keeps it out. But on the turn, and closed down by San Francisco. Well, Molly Eby had to really stretch for that, because that header from Rita was looping over from the left to the right. And Molly Eby did really well. Well, that is the end of the first period of overtime here on the WCC Network. Charles Wohlen, Joe Dugan with you. Stay tuned, we'll have the second 10 minutes for you, or if there's a winner, we'll wrap it up a little bit early, potentially, for you. But honors even. San Francisco 0, Portland 0. We'll be back in just a few moments. Back for the second period of overtime here at Negoesco Stadium on the WCC Network. It is honors even, 0-0 the score.
Let's go, Gabby!
And Charles, I think these young ladies have been a great role model for the young players out there. They've been competitive. They've been resilient. And really, really good sportsmen out there.
Bit of a foul there, and a restart here for Portland. 9 minutes and 30 seconds to go. San Francisco 1-2-1 on the year. No wins and 2 losses. Portland, 2 wins, 2 losses on the year overall, and 1 win and 2 losses in the conference. So San Francisco looking for their first conference win. Portland looking to go back-to-back after beating Pacific last week through the brace of Taryn Reese.
Well, Charles, it's going to be interesting to see if any team changes their strategy here in the last 10 minutes. Are they going to go more direct, or are they going to stick with what they've been trying to do, which is pass it through their key players? Or are they going to try to create havoc for the defense by playing more direct, putting the ball in front of the goal?
Here is Roth, her ball over the top here. Will it fall, though, for Lunsford? And Vasquez lets that go out for a throw-in. 8 minutes and 20 seconds to go here. San Francisco 0, Portland 0. And cleared away. Eight minutes to go. I think they're looking for a ball on that far side there. Here's Vasquez. Her cross. Portland looking to clear. They can't, and they do finally, though, but they concede a corner now for San Francisco. And both of these two sides very, very good on the set piece here. Is there something?
Look at Portland defending with 11 players.
Everybody.
USF pushing everyone up.
Yeah. Here's Cat Hill, Bethan, Perry, Cassidy, George, Jamison, Ward. It's like, name your Dawn. Oh, and it's Ward who is able to get ahead to it. Teufel swerves it back in. Ward, far side. And it's a goal kick. Well, it is pretty exciting when both of these two sides do get a corner, because it
Sure is.
it's not a penalty, right? It's not a direct shot on goal, but they both teams, they kind of know. They kind of know, and you can tell that they know, and that's a mark of good teams, good programs that really practice set pieces over and over. Portland with their short set piece that they tried a couple times in that first half, and you know they had a couple corners early in the first overtime period, and San Francisco in the second half had their chances as well on the corners as well. So
Yeah. So much better start for USF Dons in this second overtime period.
6 minutes, 35 seconds to go. San Francisco 0, Portland 0. Whoever scores will get the 3 points on a golden goal situation. Sudden death. Here comes Portland. It's nicely worked here by Rita. Rita still in the corner. She's not giving up, and she wins a throw. Jamie Rita. Here's Ward. And now Vasquez. Lunsford back into the feet of Vasquez. This is nicely worked by San Francisco through the feet of Bethan Perry. And defended well by Camille Ash. Well, they're just throwing everybody forward here, San Francisco. 5 minutes and 35 seconds to go. Bethan Perry. Out here for Gabby Rizzo, and now Kalena Teufel. Still Teufel for Rizzo. Rizzo in the corner. That's a very good turn there. Headed away. Here's Vasquez. Can she bring it down? Vasquez, it's Ward! Oh, and it's over the bar.
Oh, boy.
It is over the bar by Ward. And
that was a great build-up by the Dons, wasn't it, Charles?
yeah, superb. From the right to the left, nice little cross in. Right-footed winger helps, plays the ball centrally to the striker. We'll let the fans know here that there are two sets of families socially distant outside on the south side of the stadium. There are houses that are at the back of the south side of the stadium. One family is watching, all socially distant, on their deck back here. I'm not sure if they're related to any player. And just to give you some sense of the atmosphere and the intensity of this, they can feel it. And then there's another group of fans up on the side of the hill here watching outside as well. Not on a deck, not part of a deck, almost like down a small little ravine. But here is Taryn Reese. Still Taryn Reese. She has a chance to win it on her left foot. Taryn Reese, and she was moved over.
Really good defense.
Yeah.
USF defender ushering her away from goal the entire time. Really, really strong defense there.
Yeah, Taryn Reese 5 goals so far on the year, looking for more. Headed away by Cat Hill, 3 minutes and 15 seconds to go. Just looking for a goal. Whoever does score it will win this game. The 3 points, the victory. Cooper is coming back on. Pagoni's coming back on. As well as Jade Sprague is coming back on. 3 minutes to go. Exactly now. Here's Pagoni for Vasquez with Pagoni. Here's still Vasquez, excuse me. And then Cat Hill clears the ball all the way down the field looking for Cooper. Cooper is doing well in this matchup versus Ash. Ash does win the matchup and clears it down the field here, but so too there is Nadia Sawan. Sawan has Reese with her. Still Nadia Sawan. It's Nadia Sawan. Her shot blocked there by Roth. Well, Portland on the front foot here this last minute or so with 2 minutes and 25 seconds to go. And that one sails all the way out there for a throw-in on that far side. It's been honors even, 0-0 between these two teams the entire time. Almost played 110 minutes. We're in the 109th minute.
Without a goal, but Charles, you have to really commend the pace. The pace is not let down whatsoever.
Yeah, the intensity too, for sure. Here's Reese, and she's looking for that return run of Gabby Brummett, and she just doesn't have anything left there. There's Rizzo. Rizzo wins herself a throw. Another throw in here for San Francisco down the left. 1 minute and 20 seconds. They've got to get on with it. Here's Cooper looking for Kalena Teufel. 1 minute and 10 seconds to go. Portland, okay, taking their time. Comes off of Rizzo there. Exactly 1 minute to go. Nice throw in there by Taryn Reese, looking for Nadia Sawan, cleared away there by Cat Hill. Shouts of a handball, not given. Referee says play on. Jamison Ward taken to ground. She'll win a restart. 50 seconds to go. Here's Cat Hill here. They're going to push everybody up the field here. Portland marshaling everybody back. Nice ball here for Vasquez. Can she get all the way through? It's Marissa Vasquez. Still Vasquez. Pagoni. 30 seconds to go. Sprague! And it's just wide. Well, there you go. Jade Sprague probably with that final opportunity there with under 20 seconds to go now, 15. And into the final 10 seconds between these two very well-matched teams. And what a wonderful display that we've gotten to see here. Even though there were no goals in it, stingy defenses between them, certainly. And they're both looking for the final ball. Evenly matched all the way from start to finish here in San Francisco between two aspiring, good, solid programs that are on the rise in the West Coast Conference. It finishes San Francisco 0, Portland 0. Final thoughts, Joe Dugan.
I thought it was a very spirited game. Both teams should be proud of themselves. Like I said, the pace never, ever let down from start to finish. I've been involved in games like this, 110 minutes. It is not easy. But, man, did they really perform well. Stingy defense, little offense.
Thank you so much, Joe. Pleasure, privilege, and very honored to do these games with you. We're very grateful to be able to broadcast this to you live on the WCC network. Apologies for no replay or our score bug today. Once again, thank you for hanging in there with us and growing the game of soccer right here by tuning into this broadcast. That's exactly what you do. So, from San Francisco, the city by the bay, right here, the 7x7 at Negoesco Stadium. It finishes San Francisco 0, Portland 0. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your afternoon. Stay safe, wear your masks, and when you can get vaccinated,